Hi, I'm Peter VanRysdam, one of the founding partners at 352, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about collaborative office spaces, why and how they work. I do want to say, as a disclaimer in the beginning, they don't work for everybody, and this is an example of how we've made the space work for us. Every type of company is a little different, personalities are different, and so you've got to find something that works for you. But I just wanted to kind of go through our process as we recently moved into an open office layout, talk about why we did some of the things that we did and how we came to those decisions. So first, a few of the benefits of moving to an office where everyone is kind of in the same area and able to interact. There's a great term that our friends at GrooveShark.com actually told us when they let us tour their office and kind of get a feel for how they work. And they call them creative collisions. That a lot of times you'll just have people, based on the proximity, just kind of run into each other or overhear something and jump in and be able to help. You wouldn't get that if someone was in a separate office. You wouldn't necessarily hear them talking about a particular problem that you might have a solution for. So a creative collision is a great thing that just happens as a result of people being together. Along the same lines, you get a lot of cross-department interaction. You can have people from finance talking to people from sales that normally wouldn't even see each other throughout the day. Sometimes you might find that you don't even see people from other departments in the office at all. So having that cross-department interaction gives you a little bit better feel for how and what the company as a whole is doing, as opposed to just your department. That's something you get from being in the same area. Productivity, there's been a lot of questions, and I think if you did a search, you can find articles supporting both sides of the productivity argument. Does it help or does it hurt? There are going to be some distractions and things that we'll talk about in a second, but as far as productivity goes, what we've found is that when you're out there, it's a lot more difficult to slack off. You don't want to as much. You see everyone else working, and it kind of drives you. You also, don't want to have things on your screen that people are going to see, so it's a lot easier to not fall into those traps of clicking on that link in that email while you're at the office. Flexibility is also key. When you put up a lot of rigid walls and doors and hallways and things in an office, you're pretty much locked into that. Our old office space really didn't work for us that well because a lot of the rooms were way too big for one person, okay for two people, too small for three people, so it made it difficult to put our teams together, that our functional teams of about 5 people, so we'd have them spread out over 2 to 3 offices, and you didn't get those interactions all the time. So having that flexibility where you can reconfigure, things can change all the time, and every month, every year, you can rearrange desks and things and get some good flexibility out of it. And obviously, along those same lines, cost savings can be huge in your build out. Also, their studies have shown that about 15% of most offices are made up of things like hallways and the area that you have to leave for a door to swing and walls and things like that. So you can eliminate a lot of that and not only save in the build out, but also save in your per square foot, monthly rental fees. So let's talk about some of the things that we did in implementation to make this work for us. One of the big questions we had, and we did a lot of experimenting with, was desk arrangement. So kind of the default that we were thinking originally is the way, think of any police show. When you have the 2 detectives or the partners, they're facing across from each other so they can share ideas and talk with one another. Well, again, we have teams that are about 5 people, so it doesn't really work as well, and then we're doing things on computer screens. So not only are those screens then in the way, but you can't see what's on the person's screen across the desk. So where this kind of would be what a team looks like in most setups, and what we originally thought a team would consist of, we've actually kind of flipped it. So the teams are the interior section, so the people back to back. And you think off the bat that doesn't sound that good, but think about the fact that if this person wants to talk to this person, all they do is turn their chairs around, or all 4 of them turn their chairs around, and they're in a quick little impromptu meeting. Everyone can see everyone's screen. It's a lot more simple to share things back and forth. And so then this group would be with another team over here, and it's just a way that we've found that works for us. Again, this is one of those areas you're going to want to experiment a little bit and find out what works best for you. We tried this in our old office. We set up a room like it, and the results were fantastic. So it's what we've moved to across the company. If you work in a scenario where you're not necessarily working in teams, what a lot of companies have done and had good results with is actually not assigning spaces. So let people just sit anywhere they want on any given day. Each area has a keyboard, a monitor. It works well for people with laptops that can just plug into a docking station. But that's one thing to consider. So you get a lot of that cross-department interaction on a day-to-day basis by doing that. Cleanliness was another big concern we had going into this, and we found that for the most part, people tend to police themselves. Food on the desks and papers stacking up, and especially cables and cable management is something that you can easily let grow into a big problem in a private office space because it's just you that has to look at it. People take a little bit more responsibility when they know everyone can see it. Clients are coming in, and so you do want to have some kind of rules in place, maybe about those things, but and definitely give the tools for cable management and things like that. But cleanliness is something that you definitely want to keep an eye on. But again, it's kind of something that polices itself. Noise was a bigger concern than cleanliness for us. Definitely, we were going from a situation where everyone was enclosed in smaller offices, and we were very concerned about the noise. So a couple of things that we've done. Headphones are a huge one, obviously. There's tons of noise canceling options out there for people now, so that's a great way to go if you want to kind of get in the zone. Also, headsets with a mic, so you can be doing calls on Skype and things, so you're not having that ringing phone on your desk and hearing that all around you at all times. The people that we do have that are on the phone a lot, the salespeople, some of the executive management, they're in private offices because of this reason. We wanted to make sure that they weren't detracting from it, but at a certain point, it kind of turns into white noise, and you get used to that if that's the environment that you move to. Along those same lines, you can look at installing a white noise, or actually what's called a pink noise system, which kind of acts like your noise-canceling headphones. It listens to the sounds that are in the environment, and then it sends out some sounds that are kind of negative to that to kind of cancel them out. So it kind of turns things into just a hum instead of specific conversations. So that's been really helpful for us, and you can definitely notice the difference. You want to create breakout spaces as well, so when those conversations are happening between teams, if they find, hey, this is a bigger conversation, we want to be able to go to a meeting space. So you want to have conference rooms and things like that, obviously. You also want to create some little team spaces, table and chairs, a couch, an outside space where a couple people can go and just meet for 5 or 10 minutes if it's a quick conversation. So different kinds of breakout spaces, and also spaces where someone can just go by themselves to work for a minute if they want to get away from their desk. Those are really helpful in kind of keeping the sanity in all this. The last thing and piece of advice that I would give is just give it some time. So if you're going, like we did, from an office environment to an open environment, it's going to be tough at first. You're going to notice the noise, you're going to notice the cleanliness, the different smells of someone eating at their desk or things like that. Don't just come in and put all these rules down right away. Give it time, give it about a month at least, and then say, okay, now based on that, here's the things I've gotten used to, here's the things that are going to be an issue for us. And that's when you might want to set up some rules about, no eating at your desk, or phone calls over 10 minutes, you should go to a breakout room, or things like that. And you'll find what rules work best for your teams based on how they work together. But I just advise you to give it some time and don't do any knee-jerk reactions right off the bat to those kinds of things. So that's a little bit about how we implemented our open office, and it's worked well for us. And if you use some of these tips, hopefully it'll help you out too. And feel free to share with us some of the things that have worked for you that maybe we didn't talk about here. And thank you very much for watching.